was sitting in a meditation recently and I heard the words, "You can't save anyone, you can barely save yourself." And it made me laugh because I felt like it was really tough love that was coming from. But I have this pattern that I have noticed in myself, and that is when people clearly like don't treat me right in my life, I try to overextend compassion and understanding for where they're at, like knowing that they didn't necessarily come from like a malicious place. I try to go to the depths of explaining and understanding, helping them to understand what happened in that certain situation. And when I was with in this situation with this person, like there was just nothing that there was no amount of clarity that I can bring. And it brings me back to this quote again: stability to those who are confused is meaningless, and shift and change becomes the law on which they predicate their lives. You can't save anyone, you can only save yourself. And I only needed to walk away in that situation that I was in, and I had a lot of anger towards myself. Some of that meditation I was in was, it's time to forgive yourself for staying too long. Like, you know, you never stayed too long, right? And whatever happened was like the lessons that you needed to learn. Like, you stayed a long time and you opened your heart because that person in that situation, like, they needed that love. They needed that compassion and understanding. And even though they weren't ready to receive that, like I said, stability to those who are confused is meaningless. Like, when you offer clarity and love to someone who is, like, essentially, a lot of people are addicted to chaos. We're addicted to chaos and confusion because it feels comfortable. And clarity and peace feels like a threat. And that's a hard lesson for me to learn because I always want just I always want people just to be their most authentic selves. I mean, I want that for myself, right? That came up. You can't save anyone, you can barely save yourself. I'm always trying to, I'd rather see truth than live in illusion. And, you know, sometimes the truth oftentimes is not something that we want to hear, right? Like taking accountability, like if someone says like, you hurt me, it's like you have to take accountability for the way that you acted in that certain situation. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy to, view yourself as someone who caused pain to another person. But at the end of the day, like, we're nobody's perfect. Like, you're always going to we have unconscious patterns in the way that we behave with other people. And I talk about this a lot because, like, I've been in a twin relationship for 28 years, my sister. And I understand why people separate so much. I understand why the divorce rate is so high, because it's harder to take accountability and say you're sorry sometimes than it is just to put distance between you and to not talk about what happened. It's oftentimes it's easier, than to just say like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And if me and my sister, like, if I had never taken accountability in certain situations, like, we may not have talked 4 months, or I don't know what our relationship would be like. Maybe we would have gotten divorced and separated. I mean, twins can separate too. You can separate from any family member, any relationship, or you can be as deeply connected with that person as you want to be. So, you know um that's been my experience. It was a tough experience to go through because I also felt like I was also understanding that, I believe that my reflection, like whatever happens to me out in the world, is a reflection of what's going on inside myself. So in this situation where I was feeling like this person didn't value me and they didn't see my worth, which was like blatantly the case in this situation, I was tough on myself. I was like, it's because you're not seeing your own worth, Rachel. It's because you are not valuing yourself. And like, still, like, after all these years of you trying to work on yourself, trying to better yourself, trying to become, trying to see like all of the dark shadows inside myself, like, there's still some area where you are attracting this type of situation. I was so mean to myself over the last few months. But like, it's time to forgive yourself for whatever happened. Like, you are not the same person you were yesterday. You're not going to be the same person you are tomorrow. You're not even the same person. Alan Watts says you're not obligated to be the same person you were even 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, you know, all the cells, there's so much going on under the surface. I just printed a new cell picture this morning. Look how crisp and clean it looks. There's so much going on under the surface. You're not the same person you were yesterday. You're not the same person you were 3 months ago. So however you behaved in that situation, like for me in that situation that I was in, looking back, hindsight, I knew when I should have walked away. I knew the moment that I should have walked away in that situation. And, you know, because I chose to try and see the understanding, trying to understand someone who didn't want to even understand themselves, right? People, they want to run away all the time. We want to escape the dark sides of ourselves. We don't want to see reality for what it is. We're imbalanced in situations because we don't want to be present in where we are at that current moment. But yeah, you know, peace is your birthright. Like, that's what they say. Peace is your birthright. Like, our health is our peace. You know, when you feel at peace, your cortisol is not running rampant, right? You know, you can easily maintain your muscle tone when you're not feeling like you're in chaos, when you're living in chaos. And the last thing I'll mention is I went through a very dark time when I was in college because it was a very existential time for me. I didn't know why I was there. It just felt like I was there for no purpose, no reason. Like, why am I in school right now? People are telling me what to do, blah, blah, blah. So I was in a very dark time when I was at the college that I was at. And even when I still go back to that campus, I will feel these really dark and heavy emotions that I felt years ago. And that's what they say trauma is like from like our childhood, is that we will feel these really heavy emotions from when we were a child. And perhaps, you know, in my situation, again, it was all stemming back to my childhood and what I thought I had to do to be loved, you know, and that was to stay in the situation, to overextend compassion, instead of realizing that like your value and your worth is inherent in you already. But anyway, when I go onto the campus, I still feel these wave emotions come back. But you know, knowing that energy is not you. Like, be still and know. Any chaos or confusion, that is not your energy. And that's hard for me to remember, especially in times where, like, you know, something quick happens and it's like you get angry and you get like reactive in nature. That's not you. Your core frequency is clarity and peace. You know, it's not chaos and confusion. So getting into that clarity and peace immediately in the morning, you know, if you're someone who's waking up and you feel like you're in a chaotic place, sit in the calmness, like sit with your body for a moment and remind yourself of who you truly are. And that is, you are a loving, calm individual. And you don't have to identify as nervous. We all have nervous systems, so we could all identify as being nervous individuals, you know. But sitting and meditating and talking and speaking kindly to your body can really help your biochemistry throughout the whole day. So anyway, that's just a little insight to what I've been going through. Meditation will bring you insights like that. You can't save anybody. You can barely save yourself. It's time to forgive yourself. What else? It's time to do your laundry. Whatever else, clean your bed sheets, whatever else it may be. Sit with your body, sit with your intuition, and let it speak to you, because you are so intelligent. So intelligent. You don't even have to try. You just are. Look how beautiful, gorgeous, intelligent you are. You are so beautiful. Anyway, that's all I got. You can like, share, and subscribe if you found this video helpful, but as always, good luck.